Well, after 25 years, I've worked on boats from across the country, but today I find myself in the great state of Indiana. Not a lot of people think too much boating goes on in Indiana, nor did I. But you know what? We're about to find out, and what brings me out here, and what am I dragging back to the shop to make it Metan. Yesterday I arrived at Lake Wawasee in Indiana to pick up a custom-built Edie and Duff 23-foot Sakonnet Sailboat that got T-boned on its boat lift in the middle of the night. It had a bunch of fiberglass work and a lot of damage to some intricate woodwork. Well, 69 and a half hours later, we're back here at Metan. We got our Edie and Duff in tow. Joe's unhooking it. It's been a long couple of days, 2,000 miles later. Stay tuned. Chucky removed the hardware and the damaged wood in our repair area. We sent the boat over to the fiberglass shop. They banged out the fiberglass repair, only to start sanding the hull in preparation to paint. And we were handed a surprise that made this repair a bit more involved. We ran into an issue on the boat with blisters. This was definitely caused by a shitty layup. These were all voids, big voids. Look how deep that void is. And these are deep, very, very deep. And over time, condensation got in them. So we're going ahead and grinding them all out and fixing them. Scotty's masking for final paint. That's where it was crunched. The blisters have been glass filled, faired. Scotty did a phenomenal job fairing them in. The boat is in our final primer. So now what we'll do first is shoot the white boot stripe, and then we'll scuff that with a little 600. Then we'll mask boot stripe off. Then we'll shoot our green, and just after the green tacks up, we'll pull our cover off of our white boot stripe. And we'll lay like 3 coats, 4 coats of straight clear over everything, so boot stripe and such will be seamless. Down the clear. Now that the hull repair has been complete and the hull looks like it does with its killer Awlgrip clear coat paint job, my client and I both agree that we should go ahead and replace the entire vinyl deck. You can see how much it's discolored over the years, and there's no bringing back that color. In doing so, it's leaving us a couple of challenges. Every piece of hardware on the deck needs to be removed, and each piece is through bolted. Keep the process going, we cut around the through bolted hardware. We'll come back later to get it off. As you can see, this plas deck isn't coming off easy, or flexing teak, whatever the hell it is. Stanley's grabbed a piece with a couple of vice grips while Gary hammers away the air chisel. It's held on with 5200, and it is just not giving up. So at this point now we're shaving off the 5200, and then we'll come in and sand it. Sanding isn't always the best part of the job, and when you have to sand 5200, it makes it even worse. The shining light on it all is we need to remove the remaining teak wood on the starboard side of the boat. And we are going to remove the winch block and remove this piece of coaming so the deck can protrude underneath like it does on the starboard side. That's good news, because now all our teak will match, and our client requested for it to be finished in our killer Metan Awlgrip wood finish. There is one piece of teak that we are not messing with. The rub rail we are leaving alone because our new paint comes right up to it. They use 5200 to hold this on. This took a lot of chiseling prior to sanding, so they're not take the chance of messing up our paint job. Remember the challenging part I mentioned earlier with the removal of the deck hardware? You're not going to believe what we went through. When they put this boat together, they certainly did not ever think somebody was going to need to take that cleat off, or the rigging and the aft cleat. We worked through it, come up with a couple of different ideas. We ended up splitting the thin fiberglass panel that they put there, giving us access to their flotation foam, which is merely blocks of styrofoam Fortunately enough, we got Eric, who's 150 pounds soaking wet, was able to crawl in there and get to those through bolts. However, this one
By the water bottle.
will continue to be a pain in the ass. In some cases, a little confused even by where they ran the cables and how they ran them, making it extremely, extremely difficult for any later repairs. And this was a major repair, which now is just turning into more of a complete refit. Stan, Gary, they are gluing the new vinyl deck.
Pull it as tight as you can.
They removed the lead bricks from the vinyl deck that was holding the deck in place while the adhesive dried. I have really left Gary alone on our Edie and Duff sailboat. This has been a little torturous in finishing this boat. We had our fiberglass damage repaired months and months ago, and with our COVID shutdown, not our COVID shutdown, vendors and suppliers shut down, it took us forever to get our teak deck. Now Gary is fabricating our wood details. I said to Gary, the table saw won't cut that angle, so we'd have to use the chop saw, and the chop saw is really won't work well on that either. I said, wow, we're gonna have to bust out the radial arm saw. Make sure that cut is precise. I come back, it's got it cut. Gary, you used the radial arm saw. We haven't used that in a long time. He says, no, I used my little 3-inch grinder. Yesterday's video, I was talking about Gary cutting his edge by grinding it, and I was corrected. He didn't use a 3-inch grinder, he used a 2-inch grinder. Another way of making it Metan. Thanks to Lenny's persistence, we have ourselves a 25-foot piece of beautiful teak that we just milled down to 1 11/16. I don't know how he pulled it off. It ended up being perfect by that much. This is a detail that we added just to make it Metan. Last night before Gary walked out the door, he put a coat of our primer sealer, neutral color to keep our teak looking like teak. Gary's begun to put the first coat of our Awlwood clear. We'll get 2 coats of that on today. Tomorrow we'll give it a scuffing. Get 2 more coats on. We'll give it another scuffing. But then we'll reverse mask everything and we will spray apply the rest of our additional coats. Gary and Stanley have masked off the boat. I'm gonna bring her in to set it up for the application of clear. The wood currently has multiple coats of Awlwood. It's been scuffed and sanded. Now I'll be bringing it into a mystery amount of coats of Awlcraft 2000, all part of making it Metan. Joe and I are all geared up to lay on some Awlcraft 2000. Earlier in the video, that our mystery number of coats. And I said that not to be condescending. We say mystery because we really never know how many coats of clear we're going to put on it until we look at it and say, well, that's it. And sometimes we just say, hey, that's it, but we have some clear left, so why not throw another coat on? Quick midnight peek at our Edie and Duff after our final application of our clear. This is where we say goodnight. And you can watch this while you're saying good morning. All part of making it Metan. Our Edie and Duff project from Lake Wawasee, Indiana is coming to a close. We do have one last surprise for our client. The client mentioned, wish the boat had a cove stripe. We're gonna roll her in spray booth and make his wish come true. Well, amidst the madness, or should I say the painting madness that we have going on, we squeezed this little surprise in. No, Scott is not the surprise. One of the requests our client asked was it possible to put a cove stripe on the boat. Well, we put so much into this. We did take an insurance repair and truly make it Metan with some beautiful woodwork, spectacular paintwork, incorporating the Metan logo into our gold stripe, as well as the name La Di La, all part of making it Metan. All right, give it a quick tack. Scotty will come in, dust a couple coats of base on it. It's our gold. And then we're gonna get him the hell out of here. And then third shift starts for me. After my nap, I'm gonna come in, lay down a few coats of clear over the gold and put this job to bed. When your client requests a cove stripe and you give them a cove stripe buried under 5 coats of clear, that is making it Metan. Scotty, and of course Stan the man, is doing the final polish early in the week. Stan took care of the interior teak. Final detail for delivery back to the client. We
He's not a client, he's a family member.
There you go.
Metan family. Come as a customer, you leave as family.
Oh, that's nice, Stan.
Isn't that nice?
The time has come. La Di La is complete, prepped, detailed, all dressed up for her journey home back to Lake Wawasee, Indiana. If that little bastard drives into this boat again, I'm gonna personally come out and beat him. However, let's stay on a positive note. Al Di La came to us, as I just mentioned, from Lake Wawasee, Indiana, after she was T-boned on her boat lift in the middle of the night, which started out as a repair of a hole and some damage to intricate woodwork, turned into a refit where we replaced the teak on the vessel, replaced the flexi teak. Hardware is rebedded for another 20 to 25 years of use. And with the wood being finished in the Metan Awlwood process, as I say to my clients, if you keep the boat covered when you're not using it, it will look like this 10 years from now. One of the things I'm very proud about is this 1/2-inch teak detail that we added to our rubber L line. Another detail that will make this vessel a Metan Edie and Duff by the addition of our cove stripe with the lettering. She finally has a name on her. We always like to do something different to make each and every project, specifically our refits and restorations. Metan,